Send Cam a message because he wasn't in the chat.
I sent him.
Okay.
Stream starting in 0. That's all it says.
It says we're live. Are we live?
I think we're live.
I hope so. Whoa. I hope everyone saw every bit of that.
Yeah. If you guys are out there, let us know.
Reboot? Yeah, we're live.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys are in the audience, please let us know. I had a major system crash at my house, lost my internet, and everything just went to crap in a handbasket. So I apologize for that, folks, and hopefully we'll have everybody back soon.
Okay, well, did everybody catch that the end of that story?
I hope so.
I think we didn't go down until DA popped back in. We were just kind of BSing around.
Okay, well, hopefully. Oh, Cam's back.
There he is. Hey,
fun.
I haven't seen anybody in the chat yet. We are getting a few viewers back. Folks, again, I want to apologize. System went down at my house. I lost internet completely. So we had to hard shut down the modem, restart the modem, and wait for it to run through all its diagnostics and process. And I got internet back, and here we are. So my apologies for that. Hopefully it won't happen again, but with janky Mediacom, we don't know.
Good old Mediacom.
Yeah.
That happens to me on every live broadcast, something like that.
Well, add it to the list of glitches on DAX Machina. If something doesn't go crazy on a show, we don't know. Willie Johnson has liked the stream. Thank you, Willie. Appreciate it. I want to thank everybody for coming back. Hopefully we'll get everybody back because we lost a pretty good group of people. We just had some internet outages, and when I rebooted my router and came back into the stream, it shut everything off. So unfortunately it did that, which sucks, but what are you gonna do?
It happens.
Northwoods Cryptid says, like Forrest Gump says, it happens. When I went somewhere, I was running.
You had about 100 people in here when it went out.
Yeah.
Wow, it was a good show. They might still come back in on us. So we almost
got through it.
I'd say we almost got through the list. We got one left.
Holy crap!
Hey, we had to do something while you were gone.
Yeah. So all we got left is the Yowie, and it's an Australian version of the Bigfoot. It's going to be aggressive and dangerous when encountered, like everything else in Australia.
Everything in Australia is trying to kill you.
It's more animalistic than the Patterson-Gimlin type, and it's known to carry off livestock. That's considered dangerous. Reading through these different types, it seems like a lot of them are kind of variants of the Patterson-Gimlin. And maybe just regional variations, differences in climate. I mean, you got a few things here, like the Rockman and the Gugway that are clearly different. But scary stuff, man.
A lot of them vary very slightly in description and size, and especially in cases of like the wood booger in temperament and with the Gugway, it's in physical description and temperament. Basically, it's just a gigantic asshole, and it wants to eat everything it catches.
So to kind of relate them to the DA-verse. So obviously the Gugway were kind of the featured players in the Lakeview Man, the original Lakeview Man story. What type of Bigfoot did you have in mind when you rolled out the Odin's Call? Where would you classify them?
Those would be wood boogers. They're more intelligent.
Gotcha. And how about the I'm going to totally butcher the Lakota name of the Shiatanka, the ones that were in the Shiatanka, the ones that were in the Nightmare Hunter.
The ones in the Nightmare Hunter, yeah, those were very much Patterson-Gimlin types.
Gotcha. And I would assume the same thing is probably true. Gotcha. So I'm assuming the same thing's probably true of the tool users that you had in your earlier story as well, right? Were they Pedersen Gimlins?
Well, they probably would have been the relic hominids. Got some
Gotcha.
basic language skills, basic tool use, weapons.
So is the relic hominid the one?
The Fabio with the big nose?
Yeah, is that what made the Sierra sounds then?
I think those were Pedersen Gimlins.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's up in the Sierras, which is very close to where the Pedersen Gimlin film was filmed.
But they have that kind of Ghibli language.
Speaking Ghibli.
Ghibli.
That's going to show up in the next Wild Hunt book. They're going to hear some grunts and growls from something, and Marglin's going to elbow somebody and go, "Hey, they're talking Ghibli. You hear that?" They're like, "Marglin, shut the hell up."
So the relic hominids would be the Bigfoot that appeared in Curse of the Wendigo, right?
Yes. The ones that showed up with weapons, like, you guys deal with it or work on it, but we'd rather
right.
you did than us.
Love it.
All right.
I actually wanted to ask Cam the same question, but about the last Steve Lilly that you wrote, the one with the chicken dance. What was like your inspiration for that Bigfoot? Because it seemed different than a lot of typical Bigfoots. Kind of like a mutant or something.
Yeah, I tend to not follow like you're reading off tonight, the whole list of all the different types, and I try to avoid that because I don't, and I don't know why. There's no particular reason, because all of these classifications that the people have come up with are great, but Steve doesn't see them that way, and so he doesn't. He's not that. He's just killing a monster. He's hunting these monsters. And so I try to not get too technical, and just leave it. It's hard to explain, but he just, if you're writing in first person, then which that last story I did was a little bit third person and a little bit first person. So, but I think that was number 7. And, but all of them up to that time had been first person from the beginning. So I just thought I'd try my hand at. I couldn't tell the story all from Steve's point of view, so I had to kind of let you know what was going on. And
right.
But yeah, I don't. I would say it was probably the Gugwi, as we talk about it. But he had never seen anything like it, and it was bigger, it was faster. And so, anyway,
it was terrifying, and it gave me a lot of inspiration. I loved it. I loved how you described it, and I was a little shook reading or listening to it. I was like, man, that's a scary motherfucker.
When I was listening to that, when you're talking about it, when Steve started hollering, "No, don't shoot him, he's a good one," and went running up there, I'm like, what the hell is this idiot doing?
He wanted to kill him. Don't shoot him. Don't shoot. He's a good Bigfoot. He's like Harry and the Hendersons.
I thought, is this a different Bigfoot? What the hell's happening? Nope, it ain't.
That kind of sounds like Dale Gribble on the hill.
Don't shoot him.
Don't shoot him. Oh my God.
Oh,
I love that bit. It was so funny. It was almost as good as the snakes in the sack, but it was pretty damn good.
My favorite line in that story was, this mechanic has been drug off. He finds the body on the bank, and the creature grabs him out of his boat, and and Steve Lilly and his crew wound up finding this guy in the nest. And what am I hearing?
Were you hearing me typing?
Oh, I'm sorry. It sounds like a dog. I thought it was my dog scratching at the door.
I'm sorry. I thought I had echo cancel or noise cancellation on. I apologize.
So he finds him in the nest, and he thinks he's dead, but he's actually alive. And he rolls him over, and this mechanic is like, "Well, come on, you got guns. Let's go kill this thing." And no, you can't go. you're just like, you're too young or whatever. And he's like, are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? You're not going to let this thing drug me all the way out here. You're not going to let me go. And he goes, yeah, I'm shitting you. Come on, let's go kill this thing. So.
That was pretty good. I got a chuckle on that part too.
The new part. The new part's a great story. It's definitely one of my favorites now.
That's awesome.
Werewolf 5674 says, Cam, when you read DA intro, you got me into all of this. Well, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. It was great.
I
love
that
Mill says, Steve, bless you.
Oh, yes. I got that. I hope it was muted. My sneeze tends to frighten livestock. Yeah.
Papa Bear says, I thought Neil was Bigfoot was trying to get in.
That preface of Odin's Call, or first chapter or preface, I can't remember what it was. But
the
prologue.
Prologue, yeah.
Oh, it is so good. When I picked, that's the first book of yours I bought, and I immediately downloaded it to my Kindle and started reading it. And I think it was like 30 minutes after that, I had to read that on my channel. I was texting you. I think it was late at night. And I was like, man, can I read? We'll plug your book and everything. Just let me read that first chapter.
Oh, I was dumbfounded. Like, hell yeah, you can read it. Go ahead.
It's so good. I mean, I could just see those tree trunks coming up, I could see it in my mind like a javelin coming up through and punching into the tail end of that helicopter. Oh my gosh. So,
your narration was awesome. I love the radio bits. Those were great.
Well, I didn't have much time to do it. I wasn't happy with it, but the audiobook version is going to be spot on. It's going to be really good.
Well,
I can't wait.
I thought it was funny how the way the dialogue was written there between the cruise on Snakebite and the what do you want to call it, the command center or whatever they were talking to, how there's a time when the administrators, if you will, don't really understand what's going on in the field. They're trying to get clarification. It's like, I was hit by a tree. I'm like, what, you hit a tree? No, they threw the goddamn tree.
Right.
In so many words,
Nobody expected that. They were in southeast Oklahoma. Like,
yeah,
what do you mean you're under attack?
When novels, even short novels, are full of dialogue, they're good. They're not, there's not good, but the dialogue has to be good, to hold your attention, because I like a lot of narrative. I like just reading, the story. DA is great with dialogue. I think I told you that a couple of weeks ago. He has the exchanges between these people down so well that, if you read a novel and you, even some really popular writers, I read their dialogue and I go, people don't say that to each other. That's not how people communicate, And of course, once you start writing, you critique everything. Of course, to them, the main thing is to sell books, and they're selling books. But DA has some of the best dialogue in his books, and it all flows just perfectly and naturally with the story. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I agree.
I like the banter between Valkyrie and Margolin.
Yeah.
Those two just go back and forth like an old married couple.
I keep wondering if they're ever going to connect, romantically or anything. Or they danced in the, didn't they dance in the?
Yeah. There's a chance there. We'll see where
it's almost
goes.
it's almost like his stock went up just enough for her.
Well, he saved her life.
Yeah, well,
it's still getting bit in the face by a cottonmouth.
Big act of kindness, just a little stock rise.
Yeah.
I don't want to read too much into a dance, because I've danced with some women that I would never have anything to do with. But a dance is just a dance. But in a novel, I think it's kind of a lead on, just a little bit of a teaser, So.
Well, Margolin's going to finally get his code name in the next book. And
that's good.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a list of possibilities, and then I'm going to let the people in the chat room pick.
Oh, the Patreon folks.
Mm-hmm. I actually might do it on the show. I haven't decided.
Mm.
I might do that just for the show. Let everybody that's in the crowd jump in and help decide Margolin's code name.
You look puzzled, Josh.
Troy Bammer says Bigfoot fiction undermines real encounters. I disagree. I think stories are stories, whether it's about Bigfoot or whether it's about the Wright brothers. Fiction is part of our lives. Stories are the makeup that have guided mankind since we were first telling stories around the fire about mammoth hunts. Stories are what connects people. Everybody engages in storytelling. Doesn't matter what culture or where they're from. Everybody has their own stories. Mm-hmm. And whether the stories about Bigfoot, and I make no bones, my books are works of fiction. And when Cam does a story on the shows, he also states this is a work of fiction. Mm-hmm. Those stories are meant to entertain, and they do. They entertain lots and lots of people. And if you don't like the fiction stories, I'm sorry, but I'm going to continue to write them because I write the stories I love, and I love the stories I write.
You got to get dedicated following the dude too.
Don't even get me started on those stupid comments because
is that one of your thumbs down followers
anyway? So he's like, I banned him from my channel.
Is that one of your thumbs down guys?
Probably.
Sure. I don't know if it's him, so I don't want to go too deep in insulting him. But if I find out it's him, I'm gonna unload on him. But anyway.
I mean, but that's very generalizing. That's like saying, okay, well, fantasy novels undermine history, or any work of fiction in any genre undermines the real area. Do we just ban fiction at that point, and we just only have nonfiction stories? That doesn't make any sense.
Imagine what Star Wars did to NASA.
That's him. He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
Right. Well, I got it.
My channel, and I would ban him from your channel, DA, because he's a troll. And he's not very smart. He's an illiterate person, and he has no idea what fiction is all about. So,
Josh, can you do me a favor?
Yep, I'm already on it
on the YouTube channel. Drop the hammer, please.
Yep,
hammer on Bammer.
Well, I was thinking about Star Trek. We talk about all the fiction that the original Star Trek created. Look at the technological advances that came about because of it. Mm-hmm. They invented cell phones. Basically, floppy disks, a whole bunch of other things. There was reality that benefited from that fiction, and maybe something we come up with here will give us some insight into these cryptids in the future.
Yeah, and fiction's just fun. I mean, it's fun. It's I read about half and half, and I usually read a fun book. That's what I call my fun books, and then I'll read I just started reading Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. It is
good book.
Wonderful.
Cormac's a great writer.
Yeah. And speaking of Cormac McCarthy, he wrote what was the one that turned into a film?
The Road. He also did No Country for Old Men.
That's the one. Do you know he's great with dialogue too. He almost every single line in that novel is in the script in the movie. If you read the novel, it's word for word the script, the dialogue in the movie. That is very rare. Very rare that happens. But anyway, Blood Meridian is my fun book, and then I'm going to go back to a conquistador book. I got a book by Buddy Levy I'm going to read next that looks really good.
LB says, I love the fiction and nonfiction. They all have their place. I totally agree.
Yeah,
Joanna says, I think you can get someone into the subject and they can figure out the real stuff through the interest. And Wista says fiction can help determine fable from the truth. The Medic 13th says Cam got me hooked on Steve Lilly. Got to have my fiction fix. I totally agree. I mean,
look what John Gidry wrote. That's a person. She's she wasn't interested in the stories. You know, she doesn't say that, but it provoked her to start really digging and looking for more stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I don't know if she's talking about the fiction or not, but I'm so glad, you know, that like writing in these podcasts and things like this, it does make people want to dig a little deeper, and then they broaden who they read and who they listen to, and it's just great. I mean, stories are great. They just take us so many places, and I'm sorry, I kind of went off on the guy, but I don't hold anything back with those people. I
don't blame you.
I hope you guys don't mind.
I don't mind.
Probably never invite me back, but they're just, you know, who you can tell I live in his mind rent free for him to follow me all the way over here. Now, what an idiot, you know.
All press is good press, right?
That's right.
I'm not even going to think about what he's doing tonight. You know, when he goes
he'll
to
be
bed
thinking about you.
About me, but we're not going to talk about that. So,
Dennis Chandler says, "I love y'all's stories. I bet they love going to the movies, and how much of them are fiction. Y'all keep up the great work."
Yeah. Well, I definitely think that the panel, what do you want to call it? The audience of our show today definitely seems to have made it clear that Cam Stroll had the minority opinion.
Yes.
So I think we're okay here.
I don't think he's carrying any water with anybody.
No, I don't think
Joseph
so either.
Patilli's liked the stream. Thank you, Joseph. He's another writer. We should get him on the show sometime.
Yes.
Meg Mills says, I always tell people how good you write, DA. Cam, your narration storytelling is great. Meg, thank you. Irene says, I love the Steve Lilly stories. Joanna says, life's too short to hold back. James Gresky says, we've found some rare animals from stories, fiction. B, from those stories, we found truth, not just a story anymore. Very true.
Yeah.
You know, stories are there to entertain. And when we're dealing with the I'm not going to mention the Black Plague of the 21st century. I'm not going to call it by name because YouTube tends to frown on that. But the fact is, with people having so much on their plates right now, there's just so much stress in the world. If you can take a few minutes a day or a couple hours a day and find yourself in a book, you forget about all of that. And reading a book to me is always, you know, I'm 2 chapters in and I'm watching it in my head. It's like I'm watching a movie, and it's just pure escapism. Stories are there for us to escape the reality that we want to get away from. You read stories to enjoy another world, another perspective. And even in some of the best fiction, hell, even in some of the worst fiction, sometimes you find those little gems that just resonate with you and you never forget.
Yeah.
You know, actually, the books are better than watching the movies because you get to cast the roles.
Right,
you get
exactly.
to pick exactly what they look at. I mean, you have a basic description, but let's face it, the exact description is in your mind and your mind only. And that's what's so much better about books is, the expression is people who read live 1,000 lives. And I had a young kid tell me once, well, watching movies is the same thing, but it's not, because somebody created all of that for you visually. And in the book, you get to take what the writer wrote and then you get to make the visual. And that is so important to expanding your mind.
That's right.
And as a writer, I'm not constrained by budget. I can make everything great. I can make it the biggest budget film in history all on page. So I don't need to be constrained by, you know, J.J. Abrams lens flares or Michael Bay blowing crap up.
That's right.
I mean,
she has several stories, but she can't get them on paper. Well, Jonna, sit down and write them. Just start writing, you know.
Exactly. That's how I got started. I mean,
I've heard a lot of people say that. Is that what you did, DA? You just started writing, didn't you?
Just started writing.
Find a quiet place, and whatever pops in your head, write it on the paper, and then rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it until you get it like you want it. So
rewrite a lot.
The thing about writing is it's like any other skill. Some people have natural talent at it, and those writers are like your Stephen Kings and your Robert Heinleins. These guys are just extremely talented. But then you got other guys that it was just through sheer determination and hard work they became good writers. Those are more like your I'm trying to think Harlan
Harlequin.
No, Harlan.
I'm sorry.
I can't think of his last name. Some of the writers like Mickey Spillane. Mickey Spillane really had to work hard to get to the level he wanted to get at.
Yeah.
And if you read the early stories, you can see it. His early stories just weren't quite as good as the later stories. Ernest Hemingway is the same way. Ernest Hemingway said, to write a novel, all you have to do is sit down at the typewriter and bleed. It's a skill, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it.
Yeah, it's like anything else. And everyone has access to a pencil and a piece of paper. And you don't have to write, a 400-page novel. Just write a 5-paragraph story. You can do that. Just write a story.
Oissa said Harlan Ellison. Right, exactly. Harlan Ellison was who I was trying to think of. Werewolf 5674 says, yes, to me, Thunder God is Jason Statham. I think that's awesome. That's not who I had in mind when I created the character. He's actually based on a friend of mine who is pretty much that. When he was an officer I served with, his actual last name is Clark, but his first name isn't Daniel. I based him kind of on him. That guy, I swear to God, was born with a pistol in his hand. That dude could do things with a pistol that I could never match. And he was good at everything he did. And so I just based Clark off of him, to be honest. He's based off a real guy.
Can I give a little bit of advice?
Sure, absolutely.
Gotta see what page I'm on here so I can tell. If you really want to write and you don't think you can write, pick 3 books by your favorite authors. As long as they're in the same genre, they don't have to be 3 books by the same author, but they should be in the same genre and in the genre you want to write. Get yourself some 4x6 cards. Read the first chapter of the book. Ask yourself what you learned in that first chapter. Who's in that chapter? What are they doing? Where is it located? What is the action? Go to the next chapter and do the same thing. Ask yourself what increased, what decreased, what vanished, what appeared. Who did what? Why did they do it? Ask yourself all of those who, what, where, when, why, and how questions on each chapter of each book. And when you get done, compare your cards book to book and look at what the author did. And I know this is time consuming, but if you really want to know what it takes to write a book, compare what each of those authors did in their books, and you'll see a similarity. You'll see a common thread. And then when you find that thread, write your own. Follow that thread all by yourself. You can do it.
That's good advice. Anthony B says, vet to vet, thanks for your service. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your service. Thank you very much. And, considering, and I'm going to touch on something real world for just a moment, considering what happened, my condolences go out to the family of the soldiers that were killed in Afghanistan in the bombing. That's just a horrible, horrible way for us to lose people. And my hat is off to them. And I pray that their family finds peace. And they are all able to bring them home safely. Well, bring them home to be for the burial. And I pray every night for all our servicemen and women and all the men and women in uniform that keep us safe. And I just wanted to say that real quick since he brought that up. I wanted to say that.
We appreciate everybody who's made the ultimate sacrifice for us.
Yes.
Joanna says, "Thank you, all vets. It's a great sacrifice for us." I love the Nordic touch. She's talking about Team Odin. Leanne 72 says, "Hey, Cameron and Naomi, I thought I'd missed the live stream, but I got you all back. Yay!"
What a kicked off.
James Gerlowski said Agent Blue is Mr. Bean for them.
Love it.
Naomi, this is for you. She says, thanks for the advice. Amazing.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
You know, another habitual habit that writers have is reading. They read all the time. If you're going to write, read.
Oh yeah, that's the best advice I can give anybody is read. I read constantly. I've got a stack of books next to my bed that would probably fall over and kill me if I wasn't careful. But you know, all your great writers are readers. You've got to be a fan of the written word to be a writer. And by reading other writers, you study the craft. You can observe how other writers have done things. And every book I've ever read has taught me something. It might not be something huge, but it's taught me something. And one of the greatest gifts I was ever given as a writer is I had a librarian when I was in high school. He was talking about different ways of writing. And he goes, but what it all boils down to, Doug, is there are no rules. You write your story the way you want to write your story. And if people don't like it, they can kiss your ass. And the people that like it will love it.
Write what you like, and the ones who like it will find you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of folks who want to write, but they're not grammar experts and punctuation experts. Just write it. You know, try to get your spelling right. Do your best with the punctuation. Check it yourself several times before you send it to your editor. They're going to fix all that up. So
And
That's right.
use
That's what
Grammarly.
editors are for.
Grammarly will fix a lot of that stuff.
Grammarly helps a lot.
Because I are a uneducated hillbilly from the sticks of Missouri, and my grammar ain't always proper.
The only problem with Grammarly is it doesn't see when the grammar should be incorrect.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it'll flag a sentence for you because it was an incomplete sentence. But every now and then, and I'm not saying on a regular basis, gentlemen, but every now and then there should be an incomplete sentence because it may be a shock statement, or it's profound enough that it needs to stand alone. And that's, of course, not something that should happen often, but Grammarly will flag that and drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I know that's correct. I know I want it that way. I don't know why you keep telling me otherwise.
I just tell it skip. When I
Or
Grammarly.
or if it's like in the context of a conversation where people are talking that's not grammatically correct,
Right.
You just got to move on. You're like,
Yeah.
I know that's dumb. I wrote it dumb on purpose.
Yeah.
When Grammarly highlights dialogue, I'm like, just shut up and move along. It's
Yeah.
dialogue. Leave me alone.
There's something deep down in my soul that makes me want to punch it in the face, though, even though I know I can say skip. I just want to find Grammarly sitting in its little computer hub somewhere, grab it by the throat and choke it. But
have you all read any books by Clayton Lindemuth?
It sounds familiar. I might have a couple of those on my shelf over there.
One of
Sounds really
his most popular. He's real popular right now, but one of his real popular books, I think it's called My Brother's Keeper. Anyway, he writes real unconventionally. He uses when he goes to first person with his main protagonist, he writes he's writing not dialogue but just the story like the guy talks. And
in the man's vernacular.
Yeah, he's a hillbilly up in the hills of Virginia or West Virginia, something like that, and he writes like that. And it's hard for me to follow. Matter of fact, I had to put one of his books down, and because it was just so hard to follow. But I really want to dig in because it's a good story, and I just could. Sometimes you pick up a book, you just can't do that book at that point in your life. You know, you have to put it aside and pick it up another day. Y'all ever have books like that?
Oh yeah.
Well, the Forrest Gump novel, you know, the writer, I forget his name now, but anyway, the whole book is written in Forrest's first person. Forrest had an IQ of 76. He's not the best writer in the world, you know, and so it was all written from his, you know, as if he was monologuing the book. And when I tried to read it as a younger person in, you know, high school, I couldn't do it. I was like, oh God bless this hillbilly. I can't do it. And then when I got older and I could appreciate it, it was an easier read.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and then you begin to, you may put a book down, but what I've learned to do is appreciate the effort. It takes effort to get it wrong sometimes. I mean, unless you just naturally speak that way, but then you have to misspell words and to make them sound like phonetically what you're trying to get across to the reader. And you have to appreciate the effort it takes from a writer to do that. I mean, that takes a lot of effort. It really does. And so if you can appreciate that and keep reading, which I'm going to try to do with this Clayton Lindemuth novel, it's really good. And it's action packed, and it's I should look it up and give you the title.
Two Thinking said something that I think is a good idea that we might be able to work in, DA. He says, I wish at the end of the podcast closing we could have a list of all the books. We could probably throw that in with the credits and everything and the redo of the closing we talked about.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely do that. That's a good idea.
The name of the book that I started was My Brother's Destroyer. But some of the titles of his books are The Mundane Work of Vengeance, The Men I Sent Forward, Sometimes Bone. He's like you, DA. He's pretty prolific. He's written a lot of stuff, and it's the character in some of these. His name is Bear Crichton, and Bear is I know you guys don't care about this, but he's not a real smart guy, but he lives up in the hills by himself, and he talks to his dog. He carries on these conversations with his dog, and he can hear his dog, and they speak back and forth. And
that's cool.
He's a moonshiner, and he makes the best whiskey around, and he kind of goes to war with some of the organized crime or Dixie Mafia in his area. That's what kind of drew me to the Clayton Lindemuth. But so people were wanting to know about. That's probably 20 books right there you could read by Clayton Lindemuth, and I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Lindemuth. Lindemuth. Does that sound right?
Sounds right.
That's how I pronounce
it. So anyway, there you go.
If he's still living and he happens to hear our broadcast and corrects us, we'll gladly do a retraction.
And most of his older works, his new books, they come out at $8 or $9, but if they're a year or two old, they're down to about $5. The Kindle edition. So anyway.
Speaking of Kindle editions, what I'm going to be doing this week is I'm going to purchase a number of $5 gift cards from Amazon, and in the subsequent shows, probably the Wednesdays and Wednesday this week, maybe as early as Wednesday, possibly Saturday, I'm going to have some of those gift cards. And what I will do is we will select somebody randomly from the crowd tonight, or crowds that are participating, and we'll give away an Amazon $5 gift card, which is just enough to purchase one of my books if you're interested.
Nice.
Hey, that's a great idea. I might start doing that. That's a great idea, DA.
Well, actually, that idea, I can't take credit for that. That was actually my wife's idea. She said, "Why don't you give away a giveaway gift card? Then they can, if they want to buy one of your books, then they basically get the book for free." I'm like, "That's a good idea, baby."
Yeah.
So she's actually looking into getting the cards for me tonight. But if we're not, we may get them tomorrow or Monday.
That's awesome.
One of the best forms of advertisement is just discussions like this.
Absolutely.
People talking about books they're reading, and people will hear it. Now, I write down authors' names. If I hear somebody talk about a book, that they thought was really great, I'll stop what I'm doing. I'll write the author's name down, and I'll look up everything they did. And so
Papa Bear says, so does Bat Squatch qualify as one of the Bigfoot? I'm not exactly sure much about Bat Squatch. I really haven't looked into it. It may just be a misidentified Bigfoot.
Well, or a dog man.
I haven't really either.
Bad Squatch is a brand of beer.
Is it?
Oh,
It's also. Oh, I'm sorry. I take that back. That was the top one. There's one on the Cryptid Wiki too. So, okay. So there's also a Bat Squatch. It looks like a dogman with wings. Kind of weird.
Joanna Gidry says,
That's
sorry if I'm
amazing.
talking too much. I'm just excited to finally catch you all live. Joanna, you don't have to apologize for chatting.
No, of
We
course
love
not.
to hear it. I try to keep up with the chats as much as I can, but I'm slow.
Finding out
Master
that-
Josh, I'm something of a technical Luddite.
finding out that Dogman has wings is like that moment when you're in Florida and you realize cockroaches can fly. It's not a fun experience.
Or the
Like a-
Philippines. My God.
Yeah.
It's like the comedian
Oh.
Danny Boy. He's a Scottish comedian. He was talking about being in Australia. He says, and everything in Australia is trying to kill you. He says, I walked out of my hotel and there was a gigantic cockroach on the ground. He says, so I stomped on it. And when I lifted my foot, it looked up at me and goes, what the hell are you doing? This is walked
Yeah.
off cussing me.
It's like that the big roach outside the Starbucks there in Manila. We're sitting out there. I was working in the Philippines for a job, and I was there for about 4 months, and I worked night shift there because of the time differential. And we're all sitting outside this Starbucks smoking cigarettes and having coffee. And it was like me and like this group of 3 women that all work for my company. And there's this gigantic roach walking towards us because, we were in the light and, it was attracted to our cigarette smoke. I don't know. But it was about the size of a field mouse, pretty good sized cockroach.
Yikes.
And of course, the women are flipping their shit. And I'm, trying to be the gentleman. I'm like, oh, I'll be the big man. I'll kill it for you. And I stepped forward to step on the thing, and I got about 3 feet away from it, and it flew at my face.
Yeah, flew up there to slap you for trying to step on it.
And I shrieked like a little girl and took off running the opposite direction, dropping my cigarette. So all dignity was gone. And
Oh, God.
we asked if I saw the roach again. I said, yeah, I was carrying a cat away. It just airlifted a stray cat.
So much for being the chivalrous one.
Oh
Turned
my
into
God.
the breakdancing screamer.
Oh, my.
It was very undignified. Let's just say that.
Meg says Louisiana has huge bugs. Joanna Gidry says mosquitoes that can carry away. In Missouri, we call those mosquitodactyls.
Yeah.
Anthony B says, how about the sheep squatch of Walla Walla, Washington? I honestly don't know anything about that one. I've heard the term sheep squatch before, but that was, I want to say West Virginia, somewhere in Appalachia.
West Virginia and Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Werewolf says, I've seen mosquitoes carry away small children in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Occasionally here in Missouri, you'll find somebody laying on the sidewalk, looks like a raisin. Mosquito just drained them dry.
They actually
Human beef
have
jerky.
problems with mosquitoes eating the cattle. Attacking the cattle so bad down south sometimes that they will drain them of enough blood they'd get sick and die.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Landon Forbes says, Bat Squatch, I need a bigger rifle.
I just need to move.
Papa Bear says,
Yeah.
Joanna, we use mosquitoes at Fort Polk to carry our artillery rounds. It was so convenient. Yeah, down in Louisiana, you can find out where the mosquitoes are by calling air traffic control. They'll give you the registry number on the tail.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to call it a night.
Well, we
Aw,
appreciate
gonna
you
leave
being
us?
here.
I am going to leave you.
Yeah, would you like to see Josh's video before you go?
Yes, I would.
It's a preview for the video game. Josh, you want to talk about it a little bit?
Ooh.
Sure. We've for those of you that have been around for a while, we did show a Kickstarter preview for Apex Predator, which is still in the pipeline. I don't want anyone to think that we've stopped working on that, but we decided to focus development on kind of a prequel to a lot of the books that are already out. We're working on a game called Watchtower 7.
Bless you.
Sorry, I couldn't get to the mute fast enough.
We're working on a game called Watchtower 7 where, in essence, you will play as a ranger. Technically, 2 of them. They're going to be a little bit of timeline hopping. We're going to have to go around the park and investigate different areas, and you will be hunted by some stuff. I don't want to get too deep into it. We're hoping to launch the Kickstarter by October 1st, so it should be coming soon. But go ahead and check out the preview trailer now. The title at the end of the video, the logo for the game will change. That was the only thing that's kind of placeholder. But here we go. Go ahead and roll it up.
Tower 7, come in. Come in, Tower 7. Tower 7, do you copy? Welcome to the wonderful life of Fire Lookout. My name's Alan. You must be Jeremiah. I'm just glad to hear anything but static. Last guy just up and quit. We're on our own for now.
What the hell is this? There's nothing like this on any of the maps.
Oh, thank God I got a hold of you. Listen. It's a kid. They're missing. When you look out at the forest at night, does it ever feel like it's looking back?
That was
Wow.
freaking cool.
That was terrifying. So what is this? What makes this access? I'm sorry.
Steve, we're getting a lot of feedback on your mic.
Yeah, Steve, you are. Oof. Sounds like you're talking through a ball of foil.
It's weird. It's still that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty distorted. It's like you're invading Earth.
We hope everyone's excited. That's kind of our official public first look. I've shared it with a few people internally. We're really excited. Adam has been working very, very hard on the game. I've seen a lot more than just that, and I've been jump scared out of my trailer with some of the approval shots he sent me. So there's a lot of fun stuff coming. And we hope to continue this as a series. Once we do this, we're going to move into the actual books where you'll get to play as Clark, and you'll get to play as Grey Eagle and a lot of the characters from the books. So hopefully we can get that sorted out.
Several people are saying goodnight to Neoma. Papa Bear says he wants to beta test. Bob says one question: any Wendigos in the game?
I can't officially say there's no Wendigos, but there will be at least 2 cryptids. And in addition to that, as far as the beta testing goes, when the Kickstarter goes up, one of the tiers will allow you to donate into a beta test status. And then after they get their chance, we'll also do an open beta publicly after that.
James Goralski wants to know if there's if you could play Steve Lilly.
We're working on DA's book, so maybe once we get rolling, we can talk to Cam about doing a joint project with him. That'll be kind of up to him.
You're getting a lot of wows. Anthony B says, what platform will it be on?
Only PC for now. We hope to expand to consoles in the future with once we start getting into the full swing. This is our first major title that we're going to be putting out, so we are kind of going all in just on PC, and then we'll worry about branching because we're probably going to switch from the current engine that we're using now to Unreal 5 after this game. A lot of billing and political reasons why the current engine making a lot of changes not in the minds of indie developers. So plus Unreal 5 will give us a lot more options.
Irene Dewitt wants to know if is this a movie? No, ma'am, it's a video game.
Well, it's a video game, but Adam is going real hard into horror movie cinematics for the camera. So it'll almost be like you're playing a horror movie.
That's awesome. Landon Forbes says Neoma is scared of Dogman. I'm so scared of Dogman. I bought a 300 H&H mag. I don't like them. I don't blame you. James Gralski says I'm in Steve Lilly, and he also says, can you make it like Jumanji? I guess where you just go in.
Unfortunately, no, probably not. And I wouldn't want to go in. I know what's in there.
If you could play that on the 3D,
well, I won't go into too much detail.
Funny I should say that. Huh?
I've asked Adam, and I'm going to ask him again, how hard it would be to make the graphics VR compatible going forward after this one. I don't know about this one.
That would be flipping cool. And
Man,
I'm
I've got
excited.
1,000 questions about that.
Yeah, go ahead, Cam. Unload, because whatever you asked, that means at least several other people probably have the same questions. So feel free. I want to talk about it.
Are you a game developer? Did you pull a team together to do this? Where did the idea come from? I mean, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you.
No, Adam is kind of a, he is very fluent in game development. We don't have any major games out there. There's a couple little piddly things that we've done internally. But Adam has spent a lot of time hobby-wise. It's another member of All Tower Media, working on just learning how to do game, because we've been wanting to launch a game for a very long time, but our regular lives tend to get in the way of that. But one day we were talking, because we used to do a lot of game streaming on our channel. So we asked DA one day, why don't we play Bigfoot, the hunting game, where you actually just go as a team and hunt Bigfoot? It's kind of a really cheap indie game. And DA goes, be super cool if there's something like Codename Wild Hunt and I could play as like Gray Eagle. And I go, hold on. So I switched chat over to Adam. I go, how hard would it be to just remake Bigfoot and use our own character? He goes, super easy. And then it just kind of snowballed from there into something completely different from the Bigfoot game. But yeah, that's kind of how it started.
That's awesome.
I missed part of the intro to the video there because I was messing with my tech over here. Mm-hmm. So Watchtower 7 is set in the DA-verse?
It is set in the DA-verse. It's kind of a prequel. There'll be hints of tie-ins. We have a group from the Lakeview Man series. No, I'm sorry, from the Apex Predator series. There is a specific character's journal that may show up. So I don't want to give away again too much, but it'll be a lot of collect, find, solve puzzles, but like in a horror way. It won't be like, doing puzzles on a screen. You have to collect clues and tools to move on to other areas and also defend yourself from being eaten by cryptids.
Kind of Silent Hill meets cryptids, huh?
Really
What's that?
right.
Silent Hill meets cryptids.
Yeah, a lot of people who have watched it that play a lot of video games, they compare it to I didn't play a lot of the Resident Evil franchise, but there's one where you kind of bounce between two different characters, and it'll have a little bit of that feel because one of the the Watchtower Rangers is set in the past, and your current PC has to figure out what happened to that one because he went missing, but you get to actually play as that one in the past as well. So it'll be kind of cool. You get to play two different timelines and see different areas that way.
Josh, the Medic 13th asks, how do I find it on Kickstarter?
It is not on Kickstarter yet. I hope to have the launch page up very soon. We were supposed to have a meeting today to finalize a lot of things, but that didn't happen. So we're hoping to get that done tomorrow. The launch page should be up. If you guys all want to go to All Tower Media on Facebook and follow us there. There'll be a lot of news coming out. Plus, we're also going to push it on DA's channels as well.
And we'll talk about it here on the show as well.
Oh, yeah. Once we get the Kickstarter going, plus we'll be doing dev videos probably every other week or so with Adam and just kind of showing off more of the game. And yeah, we're getting really excited.
We'll catch a few comments here real quick.
Sure.
Leanne72 says, DA, just wanted to say really enjoyed your rendition of Steve Lilly. Initially skeptical, but Cam doing Steve Lilly, of anyone but Cam doing Steve Lilly, but nice job. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for that. James Gralski says, DA, kill it with Steve Lillian's story. I'm a fan. Thank you. Joanna says, I'm going to make a late night run for cereal. I don't blame you. And James Grolski says, what system or systems does the game play on?
Watchtower 7 will initially only be available on PC through Steam and maybe a couple of other sites similar to Steam, but we're focusing mainly on that. Now, once that game is out and we start moving on to the core books, we hope to add more platforms in the future, but we're focusing on Steam and PC right now.
In answer to Werewolf's question, no, I'm not sleeping. I have something wrong with my eyes today.
Oh, no.
And looking into the screen is just making them burn. So I keep looking down at my crochet work instead.
Well, if you need to go, Naoma.
And I am going to go.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here. You are awesome. Before you go, I did not reveal one thing yet. I wanted to show that to the public while you're here.
The Conchetta Farrell photo?
Yeah, that's the one. And let me share this real fast. Since Naoma has agreed to be my co-host on Wednesday nights when Steve's unavailable, and of course she's the co-host here, we came up with Adam came up with a new logo for me.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this. This is going to be soon to be available on mugs and t-shirts and that kind of stuff.
Oh, Lord.
I got one thing to say about this because I know something about this image. If anyone that looks at that image, and DA, if you post that on your Facebook page for people to look at the full image for me,
will do.
When you get a chance, anyone in that thread can find the Easter egg in it and say exactly what the Easter egg is. The first one, All Tower Media will give them a $5 Amazon card.
Oh, that's awesome.
The Easter egg is Conchetta Farrell took the picture for me. She came out of the grave and took the picture for me. And Adam is not a nice person.
Adam kept saying, make her stop touching her face.
There's a reason I've always got my hands up. My face is not attractive, boys.
Oh,
you could have taken. Oh, stop it! I'm not trying to fish for compliments, but this is a far more natural photo for me because this is where my hand usually is. Get it?
See, here. I'm just excited.
Just saying
that my original DAX Machina mug will become a collector's item.
Yep.
Anyway, gentlemen, I am going to call it a night. My eyes are burning. So
thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I love having you on the show, and thank you for everything you've done. You are just awesome. Thank you.
I'll see everybody Wednesday.
See you Wednesday.
Bye.
Good
Have
night.
a good night.
And if Cam or anyone else has a couple quick more questions about the game, I can answer them, but then I'm going to have to beat as well. I got a lot of things I got to do. But I've got another 10 minutes or so I can hang out.
Cool.
Because Cam, you said you had a whole bunch. That was only a couple.
Well, I tend to exaggerate, but as I think about it, and if you guys will have room for me on another podcast, then I'll ask
gladly.
them, but,
You are welcome anytime, sir.
Thanks.
Always.
Yeah, I'm about to bug out too. It's real late for me, even though I did take a 2-hour nap today.
Well, that's not a problem at all, sir. I'm just glad you've been here. Appreciate you being here, sir.
Oh, and I've enjoyed it so much. Every time I get on with you guys, I have a great time. It's just such a natural show. I mean, you all have quick wit. You have great senses of humor. And you endured me insulting the troll tonight. And
we're right there with you.
So,
Cam, like I mentioned, I'm a super fan. That's what my role is on this show. And that includes being a fan of your work. So,
thank you.
I definitely am having a fangirl moment that I'm actually on a panel with you. So,
well, I'm a total amateur, and but I love doing it. So it's who knew? I had no idea. I can't stand to hear my own voice, and but I've I don't know. I've grown to just love this so much, and I can't wait to dig into really, really writing a long piece of work, for an extended period of time. And I always feel rushed. You ever feel rushed, DA? like to finish a book or to finish a
I've
chapter.
got to get it done in a certain amount of time.
Yeah, and it's like I don't want to necessarily take my time. I would like to, feel a little pressure to get to the end, but I always feel rushed. But yeah, I'm a total amateur. But I just appreciate all the friendships I've made, and including all of you guys. So thanks for having me on.
Hey, anytime. You had a
Pleasure,
question
man.
before you go.
Ivy.
Ivy Ray says, "Will Cameron be making a Steve Lilly book anytime soon?"
Yeah, I hope to have one out by Christmas. In the spring, I said I hope to have one out by the summer, and then I got loaded up with work.
Well, if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just got to be written, so it's. But when I dig in, you're probably going to hear from me at least every other day. For hey, how do I? What's a good way to do this or do that, or how do I work this?
You got my phone number for a reason. You need me, you call me. I'm helping. I'm helping.
I will. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and click off and go in, and I'm at the end of a book I'm reading, and I love the book discussion. That's my favorite part of all this.
Absolutely.
And discussing books that we may have read in, the same books or whatever, and it's a lot of fun to me. So. Okay, well, listen, thanks for having me on, and I'm gonna sign out.
All right, have a good night, Cam.
Good
Thank
seeing
you for
Cam.
being here.
Later.
Y'all
Thanks,
be safe.
fellas. Bye.
Hey, Josh, are you in this time? We kept losing you.
I guess.
Yeah, he's in.
Yeah, we got him.
you.
We did get a couple.
we
And
lost
then we
him
lost
again.
it again.
Did get a
Dennis
couple
Chandler
of questions.
says, "I'm just glad Cam that DA came on your show and made the addition of Steve Lilly. I'm an old man and I enjoy all the stories. Thank you." Well, I hope hopefully I'm like Cormac McCarthy. I will be telling stories well into my 90s because I think Cormac's 95, somewhere in that ballpark, and he's still writing books. That's my hope, that I'm some wrinkled old man sitting on a veranda somewhere typing stories. Well, Josh,
Yeah, there were a couple quick ones here. It looks like someone asked.
Found you on Facebook, so I'll be waiting on the Kickstarter. Can't wait.
James said, "Can the game be molded or edited like making levels?" No, actually, you'll be set in the in a park of multiple zones, and it'll be more clear as we get further into the game. That's not to say that maybe down the line we won't make something like that. Maybe with the Codename Wild Hunt DLC. Hey, there's a spoiler for a future project, but not as of right now. No. And then there was another one that says it's coming out
game
soon.
Fan built levels. James Grolski says.
Yeah, it was kind of. Yeah, and no, there won't be any in the first one. And as far as coming out soon, the Kickstarter is. The game, we're thinking probably about a year from now, because while the back end code is pretty much done for the most part, levels are going to take a while to build out. A lot of graphical assets that need done, a lot of sound work that needs done, a lot of VO that needs done. We keep an eye on All Tower Media. We may be asking for assistance with VO if you want to get into something like that. We might even also offer closed alphas prior to the the Kickstarter people getting their betas, or I don't know. Just keep an eye on it. Joanna, like I said, the beta testing will be available on the Kickstarter. That'll be one of the tiers that you can donate into to get. Right now, for the engine, we are using. We're going to be switching to Unreal later. Right now, we are using Unity, and there's an issue with Unity right now that we're not very happy with. Unity has basically told any developers to F off. You're going to have to pay for a pro subscription to do anything beyond basic game development. And it's $100 per person in the credits, not actually typing in the code, but $100 per person in the credits. So your sound guy, your VO people, anyone who's listed in the credits, you got to pay $100 per person.
So you put one line, one clickable link that says, "For full credits, click here."
Are we doing long distance DA?
Doing what? I'm sorry, you cut out.
I said, are we doing like the long distance phone thing again?
Kinda.
You remember the commercial?
Mm-hmm.
It's a boy.
Yeah. We had a baby. It's a boy.
But yeah, so and then we hope to switch to Unreal because it's offering a lot more utility, a lot more graphic assets. Like you can drop in like movie quality assets for indie games.
Joanna says
and
my son found an open source one.
An open source
Game engine. Jim
Well-
Grolsey says UT opens windows to others, helping and can add features and textures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, UT we've looked at. I think we want to go with Unreal 5 though in the future. I think it'll be the best bet for us, and we don't have to pay for Unreal until we've made so much money back. So we're exploring options though after this.
Ivy Ray says, I love Lakeview Man. Want to know if there's just 2 books for that storyline, or are there any other books coming out for it? Once I start a book, I can't put them down. I'm currently writing Lakeview Man 3. It's called Beast of Blunk Road. Look for it in the next couple of months.
Need more books.
Well, there's more coming.
There's a whole lot more.
Yeah, I've got 20. I've got the outlines for 20 already planned.
I want to put that up if she didn't say it earlier.
I did once. Let me see if I've still got it drawn up. Oh, that's the. I've got to find it real fast.
Yeah, he's currently writing 3.
Yeah, I have 3
with
going
plans
at the
for
same
20
time.
in there.
Yeah. I don't know.
Didn't.
Right.
But
I'm gonna
folks,
step away again.
I'm actually
like-
going to be taking off myself. I just want to answer a few of those last questions. If
Go
anyone
for it.
has any more direct questions, feel free to hit us up on facebook.com/alltowermedia, or you can actually email me directly at josh.jones@alltowermedia.com. We'll be happy to answer questions and look for the Kickstarter to launch soon. But thanks, guys, for having me on.
Josh, anytime, brother. You're welcome always.
See you, Josh.
See you guys. See you guys.
Later, man.
Jeez,
Well, let me-
everybody in now.
Let me show the books again. This is the list of my projects for the remaining of the year and for actually beyond. You can see right, book 1, 2, and 3 are listed, and those are with an asterisk next to them. Those are the ones that I'm writing currently. It's book 1 of The Man's Marauders, A Planet Too Far. Book 3, Lakeview Man, Beast of Blunk Road. And book 1 of the Blood and Redemption trilogy. It's called Heart of Iron. That's a new fantasy series that's going to be coming out. And then we've got Apex Predator, Codename Wild Hunt, Nightmare Hunter 2. And the list goes all the way down to 20. And that's just what I've got planned so far. All of the ones that say working title, which is a lot of them, those are not confirmed. That's not going to be the title. If you're a member of the Patreon, we are already started Patreon chats on the Discord server for the patron members, and they will help decide the titles that those books will have. They'll also be involved. The patrons will be involved in deciding plots for future books as well. And for the upper tiers of the Patreon, you'll actually have the option of me making a character based on you, and you can decide which book it goes in. So if you're not a member of the Patreon community, there's a lot that they're going to be doing that's directly involved with shaping the DA verse, and also the future of these podcasts, and where I'll be going to shoot videos, kind of like the Joe Bald and the LBL trips. So going over to patreon.com/DA Roberts Author and check that out. Look at the tiers and see what the tiers are and what each tier offers. And you could very well help decide the coming books and the direction the DA verse is going to go for years to come. Thank you very much. And I'll get off that soapbox.
No, that's awesome. I have some company here. My Kaylee and company came to visit, so I am going to drop off since you've got a co-host here in the general. And it's been a pleasure as always to the public. Thank you for having me, and I'll see you next Saturday, if not sooner. There, guys.
Hey, have SecDef get with POTUS. We should go out to eat sometime this week.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. Now that I finally got that education stuff I was working on, I'll be about a week from now. I'll be able to reapply for my certification, and that'll get a lot off my plate. So I'm excited about that, and I'm planning actually tomorrow to take a little time for myself and play that Steve Lilly D.A. Roberts story.
Oh,
so
awesome!
I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I was like, everybody keeps talking about like, damn it, I want to hear that.
The thing's only been up like just over a week. It's had 50,000 views. Damn. Holy crap!
It's work in progress, man. It's
taken off. It's taken off. Well, I can't be more excited, and keep me in the loop on stuff, and I'll hoist a drink with you and see what kind of trouble we get into next week.
We need to go someplace and get us have the bartender make us a South Boston or 2 or 6.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm always in the mood for a drink or 2 or 5. So, so you guys have a good night.
You too, man. Be safe.
And to the viewers, thank you so much for putting up with us. When DA and I talked about doing a podcast a couple of years ago, literally the foundation was about like, let's drink scotch and talk books, and what was it, 2 idiots, no waiting, or whatever it was.
2 idiots, no waiting. Yeah.
So thank you for listening to us, guys. We appreciate it. We have so much fun.
Thanks.
All right, catch you later.
Later, brother.
Bye.
Later, man.
Damn, I'm running everybody off. Did I forget or something?
No, it's just winding down. People getting tired. It's getting late. While I've got you here, I'm going to take just a moment to throw that commercial up for Dark Angel Medical. If you guys go anywhere, do anything anymore, it's wise to have a med kit with you. And if you spend time at the range, or you like to spend time in the woods, hiking, camping, whatever, a med kit is a definite. And Dark Angel Medical is a veteran-owned company. They make amazing kits. I carried one of their trauma kits on my belt as an officer for years. It is one of the best investments you will ever make, and the life you save could very well be your own. DarkAngelMedical.com is their email address, or their website address. And I'll leave the rest to Carrie Pocket Doc Davis. Those of you that are familiar with my books will know Doc from the books. And he's been featured as a character because he's been such a huge supporter of mine since the first book came out. He does all my tactical medicine whenever a character gets injured. I'll send him a sample of what I'm writing and say, can they survive that? And if he says no, I fix it. And then I go, okay, now can they survive that? And then he'll talk me through how to treat the battlefield medicine. So all the battlefield medicine in the books, when a character gets injured, that's all straight from Carrie. So check out darkangelmedical.com, and here's the man himself.
Hey everybody, this is Carrie Pocket Doc Davis from Dark Angel Medical, and you are listening to DA Ex Machina with DA Roberts. You may recognize me or some of my products from Dark Angel Medical in some of the Apex Predator, Lakeview Man, and Wild Hunt books, and you can get those products at www.darkangelmedical.com, along with training classes on how to use those products and save a life. Shoot us an email at info@darkangelmedical.com and be the difference.
And Dark Angel Medical is going to be giving me a exclusive DA Ex Machina discount code that if you're one of the viewers of this show, you can use the discount code on his website to get a discount on any of his products. And they are fantastic. Like I said, I carried one for years on my duty belt. Got a few comments to catch up on. Dennis Chandler says, good night and thanks. Nothing wrong with a good scotch. Absolutely not. I'm a big fan of the scotch. My favorite is the Dalmore 12. I just love that one. It's fantastic. The Medic 13th says, that made me get the Wild Hunt books. I have the Steve Lilly story. Well, thank you very much. I'm really glad you liked it. That was a lot of fun to write, and I'm already making plans for a second and a third if Cam's willing. And I'm pretty sure he is, because he's wanting to use some of the Wild Hunt characters in the Steve Lilly story, which I think is awesome. James Gorowski says, I like the chats. We meet up with people and we can be friends across America. Absolutely. That's the biggest thing about this show is one of the things I love doing about it is I get to talk to people and engage with people all across the country and even around the world. We've had people pop into the chat from Australia, the Philippines, England, Scotland, Canada, lots of places have popped in, and to me, it's just amazing. Because, like I said, I'm just a hillbilly from the sticks of Missouri, and the fact that my books have taken me this far, I'm just astounded. Thank you guys so much. Like I've said it many times, writing is a journey that we take together, reader and writer, because without one, there wouldn't be any need for the other. And I'm really, really thrilled you guys all chose to take this journey with me. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. And if you guys are fans of the Codename Wild Hunt books, this gentleman here to my, actually he's on my right, so I'm looking at it, but my left as you guys are looking at it. The reason his name says General Dalton is he helped me design the entire backstory and history of the Wild Hunt team. And we're still fleshing it out. We're still looking for stuff. We're dating their history back farther as we go. And he helped create him and Steve both. We did a lot of it at Steve's table over glasses of scotch, and Josh and I got on a video call one day and spent about 4 hours going over.
It was back and forth on Facebook chat.
That's
about hours.
Yeah, it took hours, but we nailed out a backstory history, and if it weren't for him, probably the Wild Hunt would not be the books they are. So, and that's why he goes by General Dalton. I named the overall command of Codename Wild Hunt after him, General Dalton.
It's said after Lakeview Man 1, it's just like, so have you done this? And then it snowballed from there. It's like I started throwing stuff at it, and DA was liking what was laying down. And if you go to DA's website and look under the Wild Hunt tab, there's an origin story and unit organizational chart. Was that what you would say?
Yeah.
On it, detailing the Wild Hunt.
You're breaking up a little bit, man.
Is that any better?
A little bit. Meg says, DA, you're an amazing author. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. Ivy says, you're a great writer. Thank you guys. That means the world to me. Ivy also says, how do you say Gugway? It just Gugway. Instead of an E on the end, think of it as an AY. It just Gugway, basically. You are still breaking up there a little bit. Yeah, that's how. If I saw one coming, I don't think I'd say Gugway. I'd probably say oh shit, just like Josh said. James Goralski says, pull your mic away a little bit. That might help.
That any better?
A little bit.
Sorry, I'm running straight cell phone. Some reason the house Wi-Fi is kind of spotty tonight for some reason.
Well, we crashed the show when the internet killed it here at my house. Internet crashed, and when I finally got it back online and popped back into the show, it just killed it. So we had to restart the show.
I don't know whether it's due to the fact it's the end of the month, my brother's in playing his shit, or what.
Yeah, you only get so much bandwidth, and when it's being used, it's hard to stay online. I know when my two sons, between the two of them playing games, if I stream on a night, those guys are streaming games. Forget it. I'm like cutting in and out so bad, it's horrible.
Did you ask him what I was telling you in private about the bills?
No, I did not.
Throw that gauntlet at him and see what happens.
Look at that. I don't remember what you were talking about there.
Me?
Yeah. Well, which one were you?
I was talking about passing the bills around.
Vita Clark just subscribed. Well, thank you so much. That is awesome.
We're doing something. We're getting paid. We're getting Patreons.
Yeah. Well, we are getting more people at the Patreon. That is awesome. I want to thank everybody that's taken part in that. And if you haven't joined in, remember we are doing the discussions on the Discord server to determine the titles of some of these books, as well as helping to shape the plots and create characters. So that's a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it so far. Been interacting with everybody on the Discord server, and I think it's going to be a good time. Meg Mills says she's looking forward to the third Lakeview book. I think you're going to like it. It's going to be a little different. You're going to see some familiar faces, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. It's a little different than the others, but I think you're going to like it. There's going to be some surprises in this one, and might upset a few folks, but I think the story is going to really, really surprise some folks. I think you guys are going to like it. So looking forward to Lakeview 3. I can't wait to get the first book of this new fantasy series out to see how people like that. I think you're gonna really enjoy it. I know people. Some of my alpha readers are pretty excited about it and can't wait for it to be out. Yeah, Josh being one of them. Yeah, I've put a lot of heart and soul into that fantasy book, and I think you're gonna like these characters. So look for that coming out. And the third book that I'm also working on is the first book of the Man's Marauders series. And it's going to be a very high action oriented series, sci-fi series set in the same universe as my other sci-fi books, the Infinite Black series. So got a lot of irons in the fire. And I can't wait to have them out.
The fantasy series he's alluding to, if you're a fan of J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, DA channels his inner Tolkien, specifically dwarfs.
In that book, it's dwarves. The next one is going to be elves.
Oh, you switching it up, are you?
And then the third book of that trilogy will be a human that's the main character, and then the next trilogy is them getting together to get on the bigger story, because that's going to be a continuing series. I'm going to run that for a long time. Meg says, how are people alpha readers? I play it pretty close to the chest with the alpha readers because my alpha readers read the book basically as I'm writing it. I'll finish a chapter and send it immediately over to them as I go on to the next chapter. So they're reading the book as I'm writing it, which to me is a great process because I get immediate feedback on what I just finished. And generally by the time I'm done with the book and I've gotten the feedback from my alphas, I've already fixed most of the major problems before I even send it to the editor. So the alpha reader process is really fantastic. And it's kind of a rare thing that I add a new alpha, but I'll keep you in mind, Meg, if you're interested.
Given of the alpha of last the Nightmare Hunter, I sent DA something in it, it turned into a nice funny scene. The way we wrote.
Yeah, I get the alphas can they will correct me if I've got a problem with a flow or a way a scene goes, and sometimes they suggest changes to it that really help make the book a lot better. So the alpha reader process is fantastic. I'm glad I'm doing it that way. A lot of writers use what's called beta readers, and betas are when the book is done. And they send it to them and they get feedback and then they fix things and they'll send it to the betas again. My alphas read as I'm writing it. And to me, that's just a much more progressive way to do it. And I don't generally use betas because by the time the alphas are done with it, I'm pretty much ready to send it to the editor.
Yep.
Roger says, that sounds awesome, man. Can't wait for some DA fantasy. I think you guys are going to like it. I really do. I'm pretty proud of it. I'm very happy with the way it's going. And I had written quite a bit of it. And two of my alphas, Josh Jones is one of my alphas, and Robert Miller had made some suggestions that I actually went back and changed. And I think it made it a much better story. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm opening up a whole new world with the fantasy series. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Norse mythology about the 9 worlds that are connected through Yggdrasil. So in Norse mythology, there are 9 worlds, and they're all connected. And because the fantasy series is set in another world, basically, because it's a fantasy series, I was wondering how it would interconnect with the other books. And the Codename Wild Hunt books, the Apex Predator books, the Lakeview Man books tie into Ragnarok Rising eventually. Ragnarok will happen. The Ragnarok books will happen in the same universe. But it's numerous books down the road. But the thing is, since Ragnarok ties into Yggdrasil, the fantasy series also ties into the others. And at some point, you may see some crossover of characters. That's all I'm saying. At some point, you will see some crossover of characters. It's gonna happen. The same with the sci-fi series. Those are connected as well.
DA, that's opening yourself up for hate mail.
It's gonna happen. I know some people may not be happy about it, but bear with me, folks. I think you are gonna find that what we're creating is just a massive universe with an infinite possibility for storytelling. And hopefully it'll be my legacy, not only to my kids, but to everybody that would like to jump in and at some point you may see other writers step in and take, try their hand at certain series. I've already talked to a friend of mine. I'm not going to say anything because I don't think he's quite ready yet, but there may be another author playing in the Codename Wild Hunt universe. He may take one of the West Coast teams and write books about it. And I'm excited for that possibility. And, I think we're going to see some great stuff. I'm trying to create a massive universe that other people can play in, no matter what genre they write.
Well, the way we've got the Wild Hunt set up, it's 4, 6, 8, 12, well, 13 teams counting after you introduce the Midwest, after you get the Midwest realigned.
Mm-hmm. Awissa says, getting late here. Have a good night, y'all. Good night, Awissa. Thank you for joining us. Marshall Sirota says, Megan, Alpha Reader is a proofreader. That's the first round of repairing grammar, punctuation, looking for mistakes in detail. Yeah, my alphas do a lot of work, and they're very much appreciated. They really help me make the books better. Meg says, I looked up Clark's wife. Code name was interesting. Yeah, she's a fun character, and she's going to be one of the main characters in Lakeview 3 as well. It's her ball of wax, so to speak. And
for that when she became sheriff.
Mm-hmm. James Goralski says, do you find yourself looking back at your books to tie in a new book or chain the stories? I do. I like to refer back to the previous books and look at the ways that those characters have interacted. And each time I add a new branch to the universe, I want to make sure that there's a potential for crossovers. And I got to keep track of a lot of stuff in my head, and I've got notebooks full of notes that some of it may never even see the light of day. I mean, it may never make its way into a story, but I've got history details for a vast amount of information that has not made it into books yet. And so I've got a wealth of information to draw on. I've got a wealth of notes and histories and characters that have not yet made it into books. But maybe eventually they will.
Again, that's where us alphas keep them straight. I've caught several things where I had to get clarification on, make sure.
Yeah, when they say, hey, well, this doesn't make sense, then I know I've got to get it fixed before it even goes to the editor. Roger Peacock says, awesome. I've been wondering if the fantasy would tie into the others. Yeah, it definitely will. And it may be a little sooner than you think. And that's all I'll say on that.
You pinning over, DA.
A little bit.
No, which one on the nine realms are you talking about the fantasy falls on? I'm just trying to work it in my head.
It's going to be in a similar branches as Midgard, called the world Valgard, which falls on Yggdrasil, kind of on a branch off of Midgard. So it's the same realm, but somewhere between Midgard and Vanaheim. And James Grosky says, how do you plan a way out to another book or link to in the future? I'm always thinking about how these characters are developing and how they apply to the other books. And I've created so many interrelationships between the series that I know if I've got a character doing this, I know which other characters could possibly interact. And we've done. I'm by no means taking full credit for this. No way, shape, or form. I have had huge amounts of help from my alpha readers. They've helped create history. Josh is huge. He's always helping me create that. My friend Norman Meredith, he also helps me just he's the sci-fi guy. He has created so much stuff that's going to be part of this universe for Man's Marauders. In fact, he's instrumental in helping me create Man's Marauders. It was really his concept. He approached me and goes, "Hey, I would love to see you write something like this." And we started talking back and forth, and I have volumes of stuff I can use for the Man's Marauders universe and therefore my sci-fi universe. So that's you're going to see a lot of that in the future. Medic, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that, sir. You are awesome. James Grosky says, I liked how you did your Steve Lilly. Yeah, when I started out to do the Steve Lilly, I'd originally considered just writing a Steve Lilly story with no other connections. But then I decided, Steve Lilly's really kind of in the same business as the Wild Hunt. So I wanted to do something that was mine that involved Steve Lilly, that it wasn't just me writing a Steve Lilly story. And so that way the Steve Lilly purists, the people that believe only Cam can write Steve Lilly, would not be upset that I was usurping his character, which is never my intention, because Cam and I talked about it way before I did it. He was excited about the prospect of me writing a Steve Lilly story, and I'm really glad it turned out the way it did. And now the two universes are linked, and we may see quite a bit more of that. James says it was an awesome link to the Cam stories. Thank you very much, sir. Roger says, "LOL, just leave me hanging." Then, just kidding. You're gonna see a lot of stuff, man. I mean, the fantasy will tie in with the others, and just look. We're already seeing magic in the books, the Native American magic. We're seeing ties into that. And when the Ragnarok Rising books come around, you see a return of the Norse magic in power, and that reconnects Yggdrasil, and that's the connection. That's the first big connection. Marshall says, Steve Lilly was a fantastic chapter 3, great mix of the Wild Hunt and old Steve. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. Ronald says, do Bigfoot migrate? I think they do. And if you look at some of the sightings and look at the timing of the sightings, certain areas will have a large amount of sightings at a certain time of year. You see that a lot in Colorado. You see that on the reports throughout the Midwest, and I believe it's because they follow the deer, or in some cases the elk. They follow the prey items, because an animal that big is probably supplementing its diet with a lot of protein. And there's a lot of accounts of Bigfoot taking deer and elk. So I think, yes, they do migrate. I think they follow the migrations of the herd animals.
Well, if that's the case, then Bigfoot in the spring and summer and early fall is up in the high country, and then comes down off the mountain in the winter with the deer. Then, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Yeah, they follow them down the mountain when the deer come down to graze in the valley. James Grolsky says, wow, the Knights Templar was over the top. Loved the sword and prey. There's more going on with him than has been printed. We already know where I'm going with that. Yeah, there's more to him. And it's probably going to find out fairly soon.
Let's just say DA is borrowing from Marvel's ideas.
Well, sort of. James Goralski says Sasquatch moved to food. I agree. Roger says, I truly cannot wait, man. Keep writing and I'll keep reading. I plan to write as long as the good Lord is willing to let me. Meg says it makes sense that they follow prey. I think Dogman does also. I agree.
If I'm not mistaken, was it Jimmy Buff? No, not Jimmy Buff. Shit. Prop me up beside the jukebox, in DA's case, be prop him up at the keyboard.
Yeah, just prop me up at the keyboard. Meg says, what I like is I see the story which never happens, in that I only see in the back of my mind. I totally get that. That's pretty much how I when I read a book, it's like a movie in my head, and then I imagine other adventures in that universe, which could never be written because I don't own the rights to write in those universes. But I imagine other possible stories on those characters, and it's pretty awesome. I love seeing the characters. And what I love really is, like earlier, somebody mentioned that they saw Clark as Jason Statham. And to me, that's one of the most awesome things about talking to people that have read the books, is because when they describe how they saw the characters and who they pictured playing the characters, I get to see my world through their eyes. And that is so freaking cool. One of the coolest things ever. And someone actually on my Facebook page said that they had seen mentally, when they think of Clark, they think of The Rock. And I was like, well, I can see that, and it would be an awesome action flick. But Clark's built in my mind, he's built like a runner. He's most of your special forces guys are not the huge hulking monsters. Most of your special forces guys are endurance people. They're lean, strong, and can run for days. And that's how I see Clark. He's more of a like a long distance runner.
Rawhide.
Marshall says bear do hibernate in the winter, Bigfoot don't. I totally agree. Ron says, where did you get the idea how bugging Steve's computer? That just came to me, that when Clark and his boss had to deal with Agent Blue, and he was withholding so much information from him, and it pissed him off, that their tech guys would be like, you get this on that laptop and we'll track it. And when they first found Lily's trailer, another team would have come in and swept that trailer while Clark was in the bush, and they found the laptop. And at least in my head, they found the laptop. They're like, all right, we need to access this. Put it back for now. We'll find a way to come back to it. And that's why Clark came in, inserted a thumb drive, uploaded the file, and gone.
After applying poor Lily with copious amounts of alcohol.
Yeah, after he was passed out drunk. Beg says, Marshall, they do not totally hibernate here. They do come out at certain temperature and then go back to sleep. And you don't want to be in the way of a hungry bear when it comes out of hibernation. It is going to eat what it can find. And if it's looking at a deer running 35 miles an hour and some other guy in sandals walking along with earpods in, listen to Fleetwood Mac, it's going to go after the guy with the earpods.
Pay attention to your surroundings.
Yeah. Stevie Nicks is not going to save you from a hungry bear. Sorry, man. We've covered a lot of territory tonight. Well, Josh, I know you just got here, but I'm thinking I may be calling it a night. I'm getting hungry.
I figured about you're probably pushing we're probably coming up on 3.5 hour mark, ain't we?
Yeah. Well, folks, I think I'm going to start wrapping it up, calling it a night. I am so thrilled that you guys spent some time with us. You guys are amazing. I'm sorry we had the technical difficulties. My internet took a big nosedive, and we had to reboot the show. And I appreciate you guys coming back and rejoining us for the rest of the night. I want to thank my co-hosts. That'd be Naoma Finn and Steve Wildman Monrotis. They are awesome. I want to thank Cameron Buckner and Josh Jones for both coming on tonight. Thank my buddy here, Josh Dalton. Without him, the Wild Hunt would not be what it is today. And he's also helped shape the future of a lot of books. So my alpha readers, hats off to all of them. Josh Jones is one of them. General Dalton here is one of them. Robert Miller is one of them. How many others do I have? Oh, Nick Valente from the North American Dogman Project has been helping with some of them. He's my go-to guy on anything Dogman, and so he makes sure I stay within the realms of behavior. I do a lot of research on cryptids, and that goes into the books. And I've always loved researching cryptids, and I probably always will. And that's why I enjoy going places and making videos. But I do that just for my own sense of curiosity. I don't do that to try to prove anything to anybody. I don't dispute anybody's claims or sightings or reports because we don't know. We don't know what these things are, what they're capable of until one's cataloged and we can observe them. We'll never know for sure. So, arguing over, someone saying, well, it can do this. No, it can do that. No, it can do this. I'm not going to get into that because we just don't know. Hey, Josh is back. Hey, Josh.
Hey guys.
I didn't know you were coming back. Awesome. I was just wrapping up.
Oh well, if you want to wrap up, that's fine. I saw you were still on, and I won't get into details. But my services were no longer needed. Somebody fell asleep, so.
Well, fellas, I'm running out of steam, so I'm glad you came back and popped back in, Josh. But I'm plumb tuckered out. What's that, General?
That's mean the coffee cup's empty.
Yeah, and the bladder is very, very full. I actually tonight I had 2 large coffees.
Wow. I need to go get me another one.
So I'm running out of steam. I'm not sleepy. I'm gonna get some writing done, but my bladder is at maximum capacity, or what we referred to when I was in uniform as a full-on code yellow. So it's getting pretty close where I'm neither dancing or I'm going, Josh, hold the show, and ducking out behind the green screen. Yeah, dang teeth must be floating. Ronald says, do you know if there's any sightings or in around Springfield, Ohio? If you go to the BFRO.net, the Bigfoot Field Research Organization, they have a sighting database there where they catalog sightings by state and county. So I would go there and look and see what they've got for the area around there. That would be a great place to start. And if that doesn't satisfy you, let me know. I've got a blog post up on my blog, which is at daroberts.net. I just put it up with other links to other places where I find sighting reports. The weird thing is there used to be a lot more. Some of the sites I used to go, like especially the ones out of Alaska that I used to go to for sightings, are just gone. I don't know. I can't explain it. I mean, even the ones I had bookmarked, I click on them, it's a dead link now. So I don't know if people are folding up these sites or or they're getting closed down, but a lot of these sites are just gone. So what I may be doing in the future is trying to catalog some of the sightings that I've read and recorded and try to make my own database so it's not lost entirely.
Cut to Agent Blue on a laptop. Delete.
Yeah, pretty much like, you bastard, stop it. Yeah, as Toothaking says, dang teeth must be floating. Well, he ain't wrong. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for everything. You guys are amazing, and you guys really are family. And I appreciate all you guys and love all you guys to death for coming in and being part of this and being part of our show and being part of our lives. Because I love the interactions. I love talking to everybody, and you guys are just fantastic. If you haven't yet, check out my Patreon. And I know I plugged that before, but I'll do it and plug it again. And because members of the Patreon really do help shape the future of not only shows like this, future shows, but it also affect the outcome of the entire DA-verse. You'll help decide book titles, book plots, characters, character names. There is so much you can contribute to helping us continue with the book series and new series that haven't been developed yet, and plot ideas and direct discussions. We'll be in an author AMA, and you guys can ask me anything and suggest book titles and things like that. And there's just so much there where you can contribute to the future of where we're going with the books, the stories, everything. And I hope you guys think about that. That would be awesome, because I would love to have you involved in it. In fact, on the Discord, we've already started doing that. We're already got a chat going, working on the title for the unnamed Clark project, the Clark solo project. I've gotten a couple of pretty good suggestions, and we're going to get some more soon. So it'll be up for a while, and we'll be talking books, each individual book over time, and look forward to having you guys involved in that. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. Josh, thank you for coming back. Other Josh 1 and Josh 2. Herr General, thank you guys so much for guys being part of this. And Josh Jones, that is, you do so much behind the scenes. I can't begin to thank you, brother. When it comes to tech, I suck. So Josh keeps me afloat.
You know that scene from Lord of the Rings when Bilbo tells Gandalf, "I feel like butter scraped over too much toast." Yeah, Bilbo feels a lot better than I do.
I'm sorry, Josh. I know
No, I
always,
live off of it though.
I'm always like, oh, I need to do something. I'm going to text Josh and ask him how to do it. You know, Josh has got to see my text come pop up and go, shit, it's him again.
No, not at all. I did post the link though to the Discord server in the YouTube chat. So if you're not on YouTube, you can grab it there, but it's pretty much everywhere. At some point, you'll find it. And like you said, we just put up the conversation. So get in and check out the Discord server. Mr. Dalton's in there quite a bit, chatting it up. We're starting to get a lot of regulars in there, aren't we, Dalton?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
It's awesome.
I'm trying to be in there as much as I can too. There's a lot of good questions and interacting. And actually, if you're a member of the Discord, you can go into the Infinite Black chat and see a sample of a book that isn't even on that list yet. It's a side project I've been working. It's the third in the series of the Infinite Black books. It's about the crew of the Lady ZU. It's called Gunfighter's Destiny. And I posted a little sample in there. So if you remember the Discord server, you can read that little sample for free. It's only a couple of pages, but it's just kind of wet your whistle about what's coming.
And you can get even more on the Patreon.
Absolutely.
Short stories every month.
Mm-hmm. And so. I'm about to drop another short story since the month is almost up. But speaking of dropping things, I
go pee.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for the night. And again, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you all, everything you do. Thank everybody that was joined us here in the studio tonight. You guys were just fantastic, and I appreciate you guys so much. And I hope you guys will join us Wednesday. Not sure of the topic yet. I'll post it soon. I'll probably schedule the show tomorrow. And next Saturday, I will have a surprise guest. I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm pretty excited about it. So, surprise guest next Saturday.
The one that you were talking about me earlier?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the one.
Awesome.
And I hope you guys have a great night, and hope you'll join us again on Wednesday night. And thank you guys so much for helping shape the DA-verse. You guys are awesome. Thank you for everything you do. Good night.
Thank you for joining us tonight on DA Ex Machina. Follow DA on social media and check out all of his work at daroberts.net. Good night, and don't forget to lock your doors.